And today we're going to do a little bit of scything with a American style scythe, which has this shape of blade. This is a weed blade, which is shorter than a typical grass blade and longer than a brush blade. And this is the style that's on the American scythes. And American scythes looks like this with the curve in it. And these type of blades you do not peen, as I learned. You see a lot of videos showing how to peen blades. The peening of blades is only for softer steel that's on the European type of scythes and blades. And you can tell the European type because they're thicker here and they don't have these ridges, but it mainly you can tell because it's thicker here. So this one does not need peening, and there are several ways of honing it and sharpening it. And one is with a whetstone. This is a synthetic one, and you would wet this. I don't have any water with me at the moment. Basically, you're just going down the edge and you're just getting rid of the microscopic little edges that might be along it. And these little ridges kind of give you a guide for what angle you can hone this. And you would do it first on this side here, and then this is the side that's along the ground, so you're getting the final part last because you want it to slide along the grass or the weeds smoothly, so any irregularities will be taken care of from the part that goes along the ground. Okay, now you also have some adjustments on this as well that you can do. And this is a typical setup for your American style blade. So you've got some little holes here that you can set this in. And this, you can see either set it here or down here in the center, and I just set it on this one. And you just kind of play around with that depending on what you're cutting and the angles and so forth. Okay, so anyway, and then I wanted to show you also, I've not seen anybody really demonstrate this. I have seen somebody write about it, but this is just a regular honing thing you use for your kitchen knives or butcher knives or whatever. Chefs, I guess, would use this. And so you could use this, and it's just steel and very smooth. So this would do a very, very fine honing of that blade. And so theoretically, the smoothness of this would take care of very, very fine irregularities. And the idea is you're really just trying to get this edge as blemish free as possible. I'm not sure how much you can see here in this particular light, but the idea is you want this thing to be basically razor sharp. And when you first buy these, I found they're not even close to being the correct sharpness. So you'll have to spend some time getting them razor sharp. Okay, so anyway, so now we're going to try some weeds that are in my yard along a giant oak tree here. And the idea is to kind of hold it, you know, not really holding it on the handles or the nibs like that, but she's kind of using them as a guide, so most of the pressure's just along like that. Okay, And if this thing is razor sharp, it should just glide right through any kind of weeds or grass. So we'll see how it handles on this several foot high weeds here. And I haven't tried this before in this location, so we'll give it a try and see what happens. And you just glide it along the ground actually, so you basically it's in contact with the ground and you're slicing through it much like scissors would do or a knife would do. You're not chopping, you're just sliding through to cut the weeds or grass. Okay, let me tilt this down a little bit. I'm not sure if you're picking up what it's cutting, so let me try that again. And it's just slicing through this stuff. And I'll continue cutting through some of these several foot high grass, weeds, and you have to be a little careful because there might be some oak tree branches in here and other debris I don't want to hit, so just take some slower motions to cut through this. So that's the idea, just slicing through with the American style scythe and the weed blade on the American scythe. And here's what I cleaned up in just 5 or 10 minutes. And you can actually, or at least I can see, but you can't see, there's a huge oak tree right behind here that you couldn't even see with all the brush that was in there. I just cleaned up this real roughly, just in a matter of minutes. And got lots of ferns back there, which are okay. There was just this weedy grass that's been an issue, and you couldn't hardly get in there with a lawnmower to clear that out too well. So anyway, that's a pretty good idea of what your scythe can do very quickly, especially in places where your mower can't readily get into.